Hello and welcome, future Dolphins. Congratulations on your recent admission to our school. My name is May and I am a fourth year student here at CSU Channel Islands. And today we will be highlighting communication. And here with us today we have Dr. Christina Smith from the Communication Department here at CSU Channel Islands. Hello, Dr. Smith. How are you?
Hello.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the communication program.
Sure. So as you said, my name is Christina. I'm the chair of the COM program here at CI. We have three emphases in our communication program, which I think distinguish us from other COM programs. They are organizational communication, environmental communication, and health communication. So all COM students take a core set of courses, but then they choose to hone their skills in one particular area, and it would be one of those three. We also are pretty neat in that we have a focus on service learning in our program. So we really get students out into the community, applying their knowledge and skills in ways that make a positive impact. And so we're pretty proud about that. Plus we have some pretty engaged and amazing faculty.
Okay, sounds great. So we're going to start off with a couple questions. First one here is, what are the most popular courses, minors, and options within the major?
Sure. So our most popular emphasis is organizational communication, and students oftentimes choose that because they're interested in applying their comm skills in a corporation or business setting. So they take courses in leadership. Organizational communication looks at things like assimilation, so how you go into an organization and become part of that organizational culture, the leadership of that organization, how you work together in teams and collaborate, how you use technology like Zoom to perform your tasks in the workplace and things like that. So that's our most popular emphasis, but we have two others, as I mentioned. Health communication, students look at crafting media campaigns for getting health messages out. They look at how health communication varies across cultures, and they also look at how we communicate health and science related information to the public. And then finally, environmental communication. Students look at how environmental issues are represented in the media. They also look at how to solve conflict over environmental resources or lack thereof when there's multiple interested parties. So those are both kind of our other emphases that students really like. In terms of popular courses outside of the emphases, I guess it would depend on the instructor, right? So there's this really great website, you may have heard of it, called ratemyprofessor.com, and it's so accurate that I would suggest all students go on there and look. But really, it depends on who the instructor is and their expertise. But some of our courses that tend to be popular are our Dolphin Radio class. So we have a radio station here at CI. It's housed in the communication program, and students from COM are responsible for all aspects of managing and programming the station. We actually have a class affiliated with that, and so that tends to be pretty popular, as you might imagine. We also have another class where students go out into the community and make podcasts based on various issues related to the community. That's our community storytelling class. That one also tends to be pretty popular. And then finally, our students in COM love public speaking. So any courses that involve public speaking tend to be pretty popular as well.
It's kind of refreshing hearing, a professor promote Rate My Professor. I've always had the experience where they're afraid of it and they like
You
nothing to do
couldn't
with
tell the
it.
sarcasm in my voice.
And the radio class, I've
Yeah.
actually never heard of that. So that's really interesting. And I hope any of the students out there that are interested in communication really take that class.
Yes, and just to sort of put it out there for all students are welcome to participate. It's not just comm majors. So if students in nursing or whatever are interested, they're welcome to contact me for more information.
Sounds like a fun class, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty fun.
Okay. And next question, is there any type of academic background that a student should have to enter the major?
Well, in general, like I said, calm students like to talk. So if you are petrified of public speaking, we'll still take you and continue to work on that. But most of our students do enjoy interacting with others, working in groups, using technology, and presenting material to the class. Those tend to be traits that all communication majors have and enjoy using, though we continue, of course, to refine those traits as they move through the major. And so if students are interested in communication, they should have a little bit of a background in public speaking. And we also do a lot of research and writing in our major in specific formats that are relevant to our industry. So public relations, media outreach based writing. We write scripts for our radio programming. So students should also have some background or interest in developing their skills in writing. But I would say those are kind of the two main traits that our comm students have. Do you want me to talk about specific classes?
Is there like any prerequisites? Is that
No,
something?
not for incoming students. If
Mhm.
there's a transfer student, there would be specific courses, so I'm happy to talk about those, but if not, that's cool too.
No, yeah, we can go into some of the prerequisites for our transfer students as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So students that are interested in transferring to CI as a comm major, you're gonna want to take specific classes either at your community college or once you get here. So those classes are COM 200, which is an introduction to the field of communication. And your community college will likely have some sort of equivalent course, but if you aren't able to take that, you want to take that as soon as you get here. We also have a class called Communication 205. COM 205 is an intro to research course. And that's something we oftentimes recommend that students transferring here take in their first semester. It's a prereq to some of our other courses. And so you want to get that done and out of the way. Otherwise, transfer students will most likely have the 200 level classes that they need. And so they can really hit the ground running once they get here to CI.
Sounds good. And here's our next question. What are the opportunities to participate in hands-on learning in the program, like undergraduate research, internships, service learning, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we actually have that integrated into every level of our curriculum in the COM program. So at the 200, 300, and 400 level, students will be out in the community applying their skills and knowledge. And we actually base the hours and the projects on the certain level that the students are at. So we ask our students that are at the 400 level to do more than those at the 200 level, because of course they're still learning and developing. But yeah, service learning is built into the core of our mission in the COM program here at CI. So from the moment you arrive to the moment you leave, literally, you will be given lots of opportunities to apply your skills. So let me give you one specific example. All of our communication seniors are required to take our capstone course. It's a course that you take in your final semester here at CI, and it really gives you an opportunity to get out there and make connections with your community while at the same time building your skills and your resume for job seeking. So the capstone class is kind of half career preparation, half internship or applied communication class. And so we give students the chance to build their resumes, practice drafting cover letters. We have a series of events that expose students to the different fields of communication careers. So for example, we'll have a professional in public relations, we'll have a professional in the entertainment industry come and talk to our students. We also have an alumni panel where graduates at different stages of their career come back and give our students tips for finding a job, keeping that job, hopefully going to other jobs. things like that. We also have a graduate school panel. So for students that are interested in going on to grad school, we bring back our alums that are currently in grad school to talk about, well, what is it like to apply? What's the process of preparing all of your materials and getting ready for that? So that's our capstone class. But like I said, service learning is kind of built into many of the classes in our curriculum. And so there's no shortage of opportunities to apply your skills.
And I know for other programs, their service learning kind of is their capstone. And for service learning, there's different programs, right? Where it's more independent, and then there's some that are actually structured for the program. What is that like for the communication program?
So it's really dependent upon the class. In some of our 300 level classes that involve a service learning component, they do tend to be structured with existing organizations that the faculty member has worked with in the past. So they have specific projects that I want our students to come help with, and they'll work with that specific faculty member. They'll devise teams within the class, and those students will all work together to execute the project proposed by that community partner. In the capstone class, there's a little bit more freedom. Students are allowed to go out and seek an organization that they're interested in, depending upon what they hope to do once they graduate and their own interests. So if they're an environmental communication student, they might work with the Surfrider Foundation, which is an environmentally oriented organization, and it gives them more skills in that specific area. Whereas if they're a health communication major, they might work with the City of Oxnard's health department to disseminate health-related information to community members. And so there's a little bit more freedom at the upper levels to choose their own organizations and develop the projects with that organization. So it really depends on what specific class, but there's lots of different ways to get involved.
Okay. And our next question here is, what type of jobs do graduates seek upon graduation?
Yeah, I mean, most of them seek and find what you would consider to be regular communication oriented jobs. So I've said it before, like public relations, media outreach and advocacy, corporate communications. A lot of them go on to work in the nonprofit sector because we have an emphasis on nonprofit in our specific organizational communication emphasis. There's a class in nonprofit management. So they learn all about how to run and grow a nonprofit. So a lot of them choose to go out and work for community nonprofits once they graduate. Aside from the sort of typical communication related fields, many of our graduates go on to human relations or HR type positions, and working in the entertainment industry. Since we are so close to Los Angeles, many of them find careers in those particular organizations.
And piggying back off the last question, is it common for students to continue to stay involved and even receive a job offer from those service learning and capstone projects?
Yeah, I mean, we have probably at least 1 to 3 students every year that get a job with the organization they volunteer for. Sometimes it's a full-time paid position that they kind of stay in for a while. Other times it might be more of a part-time type position. But yes, several of them do end up staying with their organization in some sort of paid capacity. If they aren't actually getting a job with that organization, they're definitely able to use that internship experience when they're out there interviewing and trying to find a job, because it's very recent and it's very applied and it's oftentimes specific to our field of communication. So it's really helpful for them in seeking a job.
Cool. And so how does your program prepare students for graduate school?
Well, as our graduate school panel participants will tell you, every class you take prepares you. We like to think so too, but actually we've really been working hard to prepare our students to be successful in grad school, because many of them do choose to go on, maybe not right after they graduate, but eventually they do decide that's something that they want to pursue. And so we have various chances for them throughout the curriculum to hone their research skills, which is so important if you apply to grad school. We have that COM 205 Introduction to Communication Research class, and that introduces students to the two different research approaches in our field. One is called quantitative research, surveys, questionnaires, experiments. One is called qualitative research, focus groups, interviews. And so once they've taken that class, it really gives them a chance to sort of explore the two different approaches. And then at the 300 level, we ask students to take an entire class on that specific research methodology. So they'll learn how to design a survey, how to disseminate it, how to analyze the results in COM 310, which is quantitative, or they'll learn how to design an interview, conduct a focus group, analyze the results of that in COM 305, qualitative. And then for students that are really in love with research and want to keep going, we also offer that option in capstone. If they'd like to forego a service learning project, they can instead conduct and execute their own research project over the course of the semester. And for students interested in going on to graduate school, that's really useful because oftentimes you need a writing sample, and to show that you've been able to conduct and analyze and present the results of your own unique research project when you apply to grad school definitely gives you a competitive advantage. So again, at every level of the curriculum, we're asking students to write, to research, to present their results. And our students present at conferences, both on campus at CI, our SAGE research conference that we have, as well as COM specific conferences. And so there's a lot of different ways students can get involved if they want to learn more about research, because again, that's integral to the graduate school experience.
So it sounds like everything is kind of building off one another throughout the whole program there.
We try.
And here we have, what first made you interested in communication?
Because human beings are crazy. And so they're an endlessly fascinating subject to study. My area of study is the media, which is even crazier, right?
Yes.
Especially over the last couple of years, there's this thing called social media. You may have heard of it, right? And it's kind of interesting, right? And how it's impacted human behavior. And so I think all of us in the COM program are just fascinated by human beings, the way they interact with each other, the way they interact with their families, in relationships, with the media. I mean, communication is so central to everything that we do, and it really does touch every facet of our life. So how could you not want to know more about that, right? So what did I get interested in? Like I said, I've always been interested in the media. So I started my life many, many moons ago as a film major. And then I continued on to study media studies as a more sort of philosophical or theoretical look at it. And I've never been bored. That's definitely one thing I can say about our major and our field. And I think our students know that too. They just are so interested in learning more about how to be better communicators, right? And also to understanding how to encourage others to be better communicators, because that's so important, especially when you're working for like a nonprofit or for an organization that you really believe in. You want them to effectively get their message out there so that they can get more people interested, so that they can, make positive change. And that's really what I think drew all of us to communication, both the faculty and the students as well. And I know that's what I love about our field too.
So it's not really work when you really love that.
Definitely, right?
Project,
How could you ever be bored studying like relationships, right? And just when you kind of start getting bored, there's some weird new thing like Snapchat that is a whole nother way to get interested and see how theories that have been around for 50 years, they still apply, but yet in a different way. So that's kind of, I think, what's so fun about communication is we're talking about theory from ancient Greece. How can that still be relevant? But it is, in just new and different ways. And so it's not just talking about communication, it's talking about how we understand communication, that is, like I said, endlessly fascinating.
And what is your favorite class to teach?
I teach persuasion, and that is my favorite class to teach because we get to learn all about how to get people to change their mind, how to become a better arguer and a consumer of argumentation. I always love to talk about errors in argumentation. I encourage students to mention those errors when they're in a fight with their significant other, because it always makes it so much more interesting to point out they're committing in the heat of the moment. But there's just so much to learn about persuasion, both interpersonally, like talking with someone, with your friend over a whatever kind of beverage you might be drinking, trying to convince them why Game of Thrones is not a great show and instead The Crown is better, to trying to convince millions and millions of people to vote for you as president. All of that is persuasion. And so we cover it all in that class. And that's, I think, why it's my favorite, is because persuasion is around us every day. We engage in it every day at different levels, but we also all like to think we're immune from being persuaded. That, oh, I'd never fall for that trick, right? When in fact, of course you fall for it. You fall for it all the time, every day. And so that's probably why persuasion is my favorite class. It's just so, again, relevant to our everyday life. And it's just fun too.
So I'm like imagining like do you hold like a lot of debates during these classes?
Yes, and I even have dramatic music for when the students come in. It's like dun 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 dun, right, to kind of amp up the pressure. I do a lot of fun assignments in that class. So of course we do have a persuasive speech and a debate, like you mentioned, but we also do lots of artistic, creative projects. So students make a visual model of the persuasive process. And they do all sorts of other fun little projects throughout the course of the semester to illustrate the concepts and the materials that they're learning. And I'm not the only faculty member that does that. Our department, comm at CI, has some amazing teachers. And I think that's one of the best things about our program. When students come here, they will connect with their faculty members. They will get to know their faculty members and their interests, and their faculty members have a vested interest in making sure that they succeed. And so for students that are really motivated and want to learn more, go see your faculty. They want to help you, and they are experts in that particular area. They make learning fun, and they make it engaging. And I think, again, that is one of the strengths of the comm program. We have some incredible faculty.
I know I took a comm class, my comm 101 class, and I
With?
absolutely ah
Who was it with?
I forget her name. It's been a couple years. So sad, but
See,
I
you
absolutely
mean everything to us, and then you go out of our class and you can't even remember our names, but
uh,
good.
but I absolutely adore her class, her way of teaching, and her personality. So I agree. Get close to your professors. Go to their office hours. They're super fun people. And
Most of them.
most of
Don't lie. They're not all super fun people.
the ones I've had experience with, they're all fun.
Good, good.
And we have two more questions here. Here we have, are there any clubs for students to join that are specific to communication?
Yes, so we have a couple of different clubs in communication. First, we have our honor society. That's the same as other majors. They'll have an honor society that's specific to them. So students that meet certain GPA requirements can be part of the honor society. We have a yearly induction ceremony, and then students get a cord to wear at graduation that shows what their academic achievements. They also do some sort of project as a club at some point in the semester to generate interest for the communication program. And then second, we have our comm club, which is open to any communication student, any student at CI for that matter, although it does tend to be comm students. And it's really a combination of a social kind of club where students can get to know each other, as well as a service type of club where students oftentimes arrange some sort of event on campus to show the communication major to our wider CI community.
And my final question for you is there any general advice that you can offer to a student who is just beginning their studies at CSUCI, and it does not have to be a communication inspired student?
Sure. I have lots of advice, but probably most of it isn't very useful. I would say to that student, first of all, welcome to CI. You've landed in a really good place to explore. And now is the time to do that. Go and take classes in lots of different things. It's okay to just expand your mind sometimes. That's a good thing about college. It's all about learning new things and meeting new people. I would say for students that are coming here as freshmen, there is this push to declare a major and get out into the career field immediately. And I would suggest to you, avoid at all costs that push, because your first couple of years is your chance to figure out what you really want to do, what you want to do, not what your parents want you to do, not what your faculty want you to do, not what our advisors want you to do, what you want to do. And that's really what college is all about. So explore things, try new things, and eventually, trust me, it will hit you one day. It will be like that light, and you will say, I want to be a whatever major. And that's when you know. Then you can go meet with advising and focus on, what do I really need to take to get out of here in a timely fashion? But trust me, everybody, you don't have to do that right away. And so that would be my number one piece of advice to students. Don't be in a hurry to graduate. Enjoy your time here. I know it's crazy to think about, but it is so true. The old cliche, these are going to be like the best 4 years ever. And why would you want to be in a hurry to get out there into the so-called real world? It sucks.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Smith. Students, if you have any more questions about the communication program, please visit go.csuci.edu/academics. Bye, and we hope to see you soon in the fall.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.